who's going up and who's going down. Hi everyone, and welcome to my look at the National League run-in. Now, obviously, it's been quite a season in the National League, really, hasn't it? So let's have a chat about it from top to bottom, and let's just get the most obvious thing out of the way. Chesterfield have won the league now. Obviously not officially. They could have done it last night, but slipped up, but this little blip that they're on at the minute has come too little too late for everyone else, but fair play to them. They're obviously disappointed at the end of the playoff final at the end of last season, but they've just come out all guns blazing and ultimately been too strong for everyone else. But from second down to I'd maybe say ninth, it really is quite interesting. Obviously, you've got Barnet in second place on 71, Bromley in third on 70, Solihull in fourth on 65, Aldershot in fifth on 63, Halifax in sixth on 62, Altrincham in seventh on 61, Gateshead in eighth on 60, and Oldham in ninth on 59. I mean, from fifth down to ninth, it's actually probably quite satisfying to look at, isn't it, really? Because there's only 1 point between each team, but I think in terms of the teams, Barnet and Bromley, they've been up there pretty much all season, and you'd expect those two to be the ones that do get the spots for the buy into the playoff semi-final. But for me, at this moment in time, you can't rule out Solihull for that spot either. I think they are coming on strong at the right time, it must be said. I think anyone below Solihull is probably fighting out for the maybe order of the eliminators. I mean, if Solihull have a little dip, then I think one of the teams below them could potentially overtake them. But I think, to be honest, I probably would argue that Solihull are like Barnet and Bromley's only real threat to their status in second or third. I think Aldershot, I think they've exceeded a lot of expectations this season, and fair play to them. My expectations for them included, obviously, when you've got the likes of Talage and Stokes and players like that, you're always going to have a chance in any game. But I think what's letting Aldershot down massively is the fact that they're in the playoffs, but they've got a negative goal difference, and they are just letting in far too many goals, and I do wonder a little bit, is that really going to be sustainable for them? I mean, if they can do it, then fair play, but I think that is something that they are going to have to address, because, as I said, in the playoffs with a negative goal difference, it's almost unheard of, really, isn't it? But just below that, you've got Halifax, who, have had a decent season, I'd say. Obviously coming into it on the back of the FA Trophy win last season, doing quite well in the minute. Obviously beat Chesterfield last night. They're up there, but I think maybe in the total opposite to all the shots this year. Halifax aren't conceding many, but the problem is they're just not scoring many. Again, is it really sustainable? We'll obviously find out in due course, but there's the experience in that team. I think there's maybe the ability to obviously grind out results. Obviously below that you've got Altrincham, who I think have got a pretty good balance, I'd say. I think they obviously had a little bit of a blip in form recently, but I think maybe coming good at the right time now. Then obviously just outside you've got Gateshead and you've got Oldham. Obviously two sides this season, you'd probably have to say a large sort of chunk of why those two are in and around the playoffs has been down to the away form, and the home form maybe perhaps less so. I mean, Gateshead of late, maybe the home form has improved somewhat since the new year, but my worry as a Gateshead fan is just the sheer amount of games that we are going to have to play, pretty much all in one go, and like having to throw the FA Trophy semi-final in there as well. I mean, I know obviously Bromley and Bromley and Solihull have got to do the same thing, but we'll soon wait and see. But one thing I do know is that our lads won't like give up on it. Like they'll keep going right up until the bitter end, and I'd like to think that we could maybe take it down to the wire at the very least. Got some very tough games coming up, but just below us, I've got Oldham, who I think will get in the playoffs. I really do think that. I think they've always got that extra gear to go into. They've got like the quality within the team, although they maybe haven't shown it all the time this year. They do have, I think, what it takes to get into the playoffs, and if I can get some form going right at the end of the season, and there's every chance I could even win the playoffs as well. Who knows? But below that, I think your sort of next batch of teams, Rochdale, Southend, Dagenham, and Hartlepool. Yeah, I think they're all like relatively safe. I think some you might think are performing to expectations, like maybe Dagenham. Some maybe even doing a little bit better. Who knows? But I think them like maybe Hartlepool. Some you can maybe say are performing below expectations. I think Hartlepool there's pretty mixed expectations on them this season. Like a lot of people thought they might struggle a bit. A lot of people thought they might do well. I think they've had a lot of like issues with injuries this year, which hasn't helped their cause. Obviously, at the start of the season, we played them, and I thought that Mancini looked absolutely blinding, but injuries have just totally hampered his time there. And when you're losing players like that, it's going to be a blow. But it's still got like Diasarue that can make a bit of difference. So could they like forge a late push? I doubt it. I think they've probably left themselves with a bit too much to do, but certainly can't see any of those sides having any real like issues at the wrong end. I'm not going to lie, but. Then we move on to the relegation battle, which is, it's really tough to call. I mean, I think walking right down to the bottom of the league, it's and all of them are in danger at this moment in time, really. So you got Woking in 14th, Ebbsfleet 15th, Wealdstone 16th, Fylde 17th, Eastleigh 18th, Maidenhead 19th, Borehamwood 20th, York 21st, Kidderminster 22nd, Dorking 23rd, and Oxford City bottom of the league. And unfortunately for Oxford City, I do think, they're probably cut too far adrift now to really make a difference. It's been an experience for them. I think it's probably will have to go down as a good experience for them. The fact that they have been able to compete at this level, but I think ultimately as the season's gone on, I think it's what's happened to them is probably what was expected to happen, really. In the other sides would have that extra bit of quality. Just above them now, you got Dorking, who can pull out results at any given time, as they have shown a few times recently. Obviously, that 4-1 win against Chesterfield, they're beating us 1-0. So they can get results. I think. I think in this back end of the season, I think they're going to have to use Meadowbank to their advantage, especially. Obviously, just above them, Kidderminster. I think the new manager bounce is starting to wear off there a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I think Phil Brown, he's done a good job so far. He's given them a fighting chance, which maybe didn't look like they actually had a couple of months ago. But I'm starting to wonder now, has the momentum gone? Has the wind been taken out of the sails? And is it and they're starting to leave themselves with a bit too much to do? But next team above them is one I really do want to talk about, and it is York City, because I think they've had a massively underwhelming season. I'm not gonna lie. I think there was a lot of expectation on them when Ugly came in, and they brought in all those players. But I think the amount of players they've got through throughout their squad this year, I think it has been a case of too many cooks spoiling the broth. Because you look at the back of a match program, you look at York's the numbers in York's squad compared to everyone else's. It's almost astronomical, really, isn't it? I think they've had 30, maybe even getting to the 40s for players on their books this season, when I think at National League level you probably need 20, 22 tops, really, don't you? I think a lot's gone wrong there. Obviously the sacking of Neil Ardley was pretty controversial. I think he would have kept them up. It might not have been pretty, but I think he would have done it. I do still fancy them to stay up. I'm not going to lie. I think and there is like that there is sort of what it takes in there, but I think this season has to be a massive lesson learned for everyone at York. I think Ugly's got to like tone it down with his social media antics. I think is obviously trying to wind up Scarborough fans, making claims about they're going to challenge for promotion and things like that. Once the team gets going, there'll be no stopping them. Like just comments like that haven't helped the cause there, and it does look probably pretty embarrassing for them now. I know it's a bit rich because they did a number on us over Christmas, but yeah, I think this season it's like whether York stay up or not, it's still it still has to go down as a disappointing season for them, and one that like they have to collectively they have to learn from. Just above them you've got Boreham Wood, who I'm massively surprised to see Boreham Wood down where they are. I thought they'd be maybe up there and around the playoffs, but I think they're maybe starting to get found out a little bit now. I'm not going to lie. I think there's probably a little bit too much dead wood at that club. No pun intended. So I think a little bit of a clear out there over the summer. Like I think they will have enough to stay up. Just above them, you've got Maidenhead, who are always a team that get tipped for relegation, but never seem to actually do get relegated. Will this finally be the year for them? Obviously, again, having a pretty tough second half of the season. I think that this kind of thing can happen when you are still part-timers. I believe Maidenhead still are. So it's going to be interesting with them. Can they grind it out? Above them, you've got Eastleigh, who, again, I think have had a pretty poor season. Had some really, really, like, dismal results, haven't they? I know they had their FA Cup run, but as far as the league goes, yeah, it's not been a good year for them. Let's just have it right. Above them, AFC Fylde, again a bit like Kidderminster, like looked down and out at one point, but like managed to claw their way back out of it. Have got some form going in the second half of the season. Chris Beach has probably made them a bit more like solid. They are starting to maybe show what we saw like previously from them in the National League, and obviously what won them the National League North last season. Maybe a little bit similar to Gateshead last season, really, in that they are maybe starting to come good at the right time. Above them, you got Wealdstone now. I think the thing for Wealdstone is obviously they've only played 36 games, which is the fewest in the league by what looks like a pretty considerable distance. But I'm just worried for them that the sheer amount of games that they've got to play is just going to prove a bit too much for them, which is a shame because I'd like them to stay up because I do like them as a club, but again, part time, it's gonna be a big effort. Like they're gonna have to play like pretty much Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday now between now and the end of the season. Such has been their luck with the weather and what have you this year. Above that, you've got Ebbsfleet, who obviously we saw on the channel last week, and I do think will stay up. I think they've found form at exactly the right time, and they've obviously won the National League South at Cantor last year. Again, like going into Christmas, it wasn't like looking good for them. It wasn't looking good for any of the promoted teams, really, was it? It was looking like they could all have gone straight back down, but it looks as though it might just be Oxford City that actually do drop. But yeah, Ebbsfleet will be fine in my opinion. Can't see them having any issues, and the same goes for Woking, who again have come good at the right time. Again, probably had a bit of an underwhelming season given what was expected of them, but as I said, they've probably have come good at the right time, and they should like go on and finish pretty comfortably in mid-table. But I'm just going to leave that video here. Let me know what you think. Obviously, we know. I know who you think is going to win the league, but who do you think is going to get in the playoffs? Who do you think is going to win the playoffs? And who do you think is going to go down? I'd love to know your thoughts. So just get them in the comments. Let's get a bit of discussion going. But I'll be back on Saturday with a big game for the playoff race, actually. It is Altrincham versus Gateshead. So it's the team currently in the last playoff spot versus the team that are in the last spot just outside the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting one. But check back on Saturday to find out the outcome of that. But until then, take care. Cheers for watching. See you later.